My next guests are sounding the alarm and say they're taking steps to protect women's rights. Joining me now, Carrie Lucas, president of the Independent Women's Forum, and Riley Gaines, former University of Kentucky swimmer who competed against transgender athlete Lia Thomas. Thank you both for being here. Carrie, are these shifting definitions facilitating discrimination against biological women?
Absolutely. It really is important when you're talking about the importance of language, particularly when it comes to matters of law. The word woman is used more than 200 times in the Violence Against Women Act alone. It really matters if we know what these words are. And the women have had to fight very hard to have equal opportunity, not just in sports, but equal protection when it comes to the workplaces, to a lot of places. And it's really a problem if we're suddenly eroding this word woman and also this common understanding of what it means to be equal and have equal opportunity.
Carrie, a trans activist, Devon Ojeda, responded to your efforts, telling Politico this trend of trying to define what gender and sex is not a new one. What's new now is that they're pushing or trying to push it in a legal sense. These women's rights bills are not about women's rights. People define women in different ways. Carrie, your response, and what are you trying to do in these state legislatures?
Yeah, we're just trying to make sure that we have a common language to talk about. So we're promoting something called the Women's Bill of Rights. And all this would do is make sure that we know what the word woman is, to actually define it and define it as based in biology, so that we know what the word female is, male, men, women, and so that we know that all of the laws that are on the books that we're having a common language. And if somebody wants to, if there's policymakers out there who want to include male-bodied people who identify as trans or identify as women, they can do that, but they have to do it with different language. We can't just suddenly redefine the word woman to be essentially meaningless, which is what it is when you say, hey, who cares? It's whatever you think it is. And anybody who wants to use the word woman, that becomes a woman. That isn't fair to women. It's not fair to women who want to have safe places and equal opportunity.
Riley, you were an NCAA competitive swimmer. Do women have equal access to sports when the courts and the government are forcing them to compete with biological men as you did?
Absolutely not. This is taking us back to the 1970s, to before Title IX. And that's what I think is the left is not understanding. They think this is progressive. They think we're moving in the forward direction. But this is taking us back half a century. It's regressive. It's not moving anything forward. It's taking us backwards.
Riley, you tied Lia Thomas for first place in the NCAA Division I championship. Here's how Lia reacted.
How does it make you feel when you think about the fact that you're the first transgender person to ever win an NCAA Division I championship?
I'm very humbled and honored to hold that title. And I can only hope that I'm able to give other trans people the inspiration and motivation I was given.
Riley, your thoughts when you hear that? I mean, you essentially matched a biological man with greater lung capacity and upper body strength, and Lia wants to encourage more transgender people to jump in the pool.
To me, hearing that, all I hear is selfishness. I hear lack of self-awareness, and I hear a utter disregard and disrespect towards women, women who have dedicated their entire lives to their sport, not just 1 year after the year before ranking in the 500s and 600s as a biological male. And that's what this was. If you're looking at this just off sheer statistics, nothing opinionated about this. Lia Thomas, the year before, when competing as Will Thomas, was ranked in the 500s at best. The next year, a year later, winning a national title, being the fastest female in the country, and then being nominated for NCAA Woman of the Year. Nothing about what I just said is an opinion, and if it frustrates someone or makes someone upset, I think that speaks volumes.
The Biden administration seeking to expand sexual protections to include really a host of gender identities, Carrie. Here's an example of what they might be thinking. Now, this comprehensive identity list appeared in all places, in Women's Health magazine. Anatomical sex, cisgender, cishet, intersex, gender expansive, gender void, omnigender, two-spirit. Now, will defining women and men even help in the law when you have so many of these gender iterations being created every day in the culture at large?
You know, I think it will. I actually really do think it's important that we get back to having a common language. And you're right. It's kind of shocking to see all these new terminologies and these new categories that are coming online. But what we have to do, the most important thing is not to take our eye off the ball. When it comes to, we need to have a common language. And when it comes to terms like women, we need to know what we're talking about and know what when we talk about it in law, that we can't just have somebody erase that. And so I do think that's really an important step forward. That's why we're working on the federal level to make sure that the federal laws recognize this, but then also across the states. We've got a lot of partners out there, and I'm really encouraged because I think most people, when they hear this, they say, yeah, you're right. This isn't a left or right issue. There's a lot of people on the great women that we're working with who consider themselves on the political left who say, this is absolutely ridiculous. We shouldn't have biological men stealing our spots when it comes to teams. They shouldn't be taking women's positions when it comes to educational facilities. They shouldn't be threatening women in prisons, which is obviously happening every day. This is a really big problem, but we can make progress. I'm really encouraged.
Carrie, Riley, I'm out of time. Thank you. Happy New Year. We'll keep an eye on this story.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.